if you notice, we have like this Stripe specific code cluttered around. So for example, let's navigate to Stripe dashboard function in our auth menu. There's another place in the application I want to reuse this. And so in order to make this a bit more reusable, we're going to create a composables directory, and we're going to actually move the Stripe code into a useStripe composable. I'm actually going to do export function useStripe. This is where I want to have all of our Stripe specific functions and logic. So first, let me just return navigate to Stripe dashboard and show you how we're going to reuse this here. We can do a const navigate equals use Stripe, and there you go. Should work just as before. Perfect. And if you notice here in this use auth, it's the exact same. So it turns out this is a reoccurring pattern in Nuxt and Vue applications that you've probably been using without even knowing it. But we're going to build out a small variation of this for ourselves. So let's just go and find other places where we have Stripe specific logic. One place in particular that I want to refactor is this pricing section component. I want to take out this checkout function. And remember, we want to export it. And something else I want is this tiers. This is just like a const variable, but I think it's probably fine having it here. Now again, let's do a const checkout tiers from useStripe. That in place, I want to add some logic for the is subscribed check. So here we are, is subscribed, and if you scroll down, for example, we get this buy plan button. That doesn't make any sense if you already have the plan, if you're already subscribed, right? Ideally, when you click this, it goes to your management, to your billing portal, like this button. And so that's what we're going to do in this section. But first, we actually need to get the is subscribed data. So if you go to your Nuxt application, or your Nuxt DevTools, sorry, you can go to payload, and here's auth data. This is all the data currently exposed by our Nuxt auth module. So we have this, if you were to, for example, extract data here, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to have a user object as well as an expires object. But you don't see anywhere here with the is subscribed. And I find that this is like a value that you're going to want to check regularly. And so what I like to do is actually extend this user object and add the is subscribed attribute directly to it. So where you're going to do that is actually in our auth file, this triple dots. And we're going to add a section to this called callbacks. So callbacks are asynchronous functions you can use to control what happens when an action is performed. Callbacks are extremely powerful, and I'm going to show you why that is. So we're going to add something called an async session, and here you can see the callback is called whenever a session is checked, e.g. invoking the endpoint, or when you're using useSession or getSession. And here we're going to do the session parameter. Now it's yelling at us because there are a couple of required return values. First, we want to check, does the session have an email? This is just to make TypeScript a bit happier. We'll say accounts, get accounts by email. And we're going to do a session.user.email. So we actually don't have this function. It's a utility function that we're going to create. And it's actually just a simple Prisma utility function. So we'll do a get accounts by email equal async email string return await prisma.account. We need const prisma equals new prisma client, and go back here, find many where user has email. You just see this is probably a query you might use often often. So we're going to use that. Pull it out, and now we want to import it. And now we have accounts. And with it, we can do a return session. So this is actually just the main session. So if you were to actually look into this, again, it would be this entire object. This is the session object. And then we want to extend specifically in our user is subscribed. And this is account sub 0 dot is subscribed. Now if we check here and refresh, we now have is subscribed. It's still yelling at us though, and that's because we don't have a base case. So the base case would be outside of this if statement. And here we'll just say return, we're going to return our session, and then our user with the default user, and then is subscribed is false. So we're copying the same syntax as this one, but because we're not entirely sure whether the user is subscribed or not outside of this if statement, we're going to just say false. So now we have the is subscribed here. I just want to show you if we change this on the in Prisma, we save, let's refresh, is subscribed is now false. So this is just a by toggling here in the dev tools, I believe this is just front end related state if you want to like see how the front end changes, but it's not actually going to make changes in your database. See, so we do true, go back, refresh, it's false again. All right, let's put that back to true in our database, refresh, true, great. Now let's close our Nuxt dev tools and let's go back into our code, specifically our pricing section. If you remember, this buy now button is where we're currently doing the checkout logic. I want to go add an additional conditional here and say if, oh yeah, we need our data. So if data.value.user.is subscribed, await navigate to Stripe dashboard. So we also need to pull this out here. There we go. Oh no. So that is from our useStripe composable. And I know TypeScript's yelling at us here. We will fix this soon. Now let's just test that. If you click here, it should go to your managed billing. Great. And last thing we want to do is change the text. So the way I solve this is using a computer property. And I say if I actually do the same conditionals. But let's just delete this and say return manage subscription, return buy now, or return sign in to buy. And then with this text, let's replace buy now with the text. See, manage subscription. I'll just show you the other logged out state. Sign in to buy. If you click it, it signs you in. And I guess we can do this one as well. So now we're signed in, but not subscribed. Buy now. And I guess we can click it as well. Just show you the checkout session is in fact working. Perfect. So let's go back to our home page. I'm gonna be subscribed again. And let's just solve this last little bit, this last red squiggly. So to fix this, we actually need to extend the type that comes with our module. And where I like to organize that is in a types directory, and I do next auth.e.ts. So the types are actually coming from next auth rather than this default session, for example, is actually coming from next auth, not from next auth. So that's where this next auth.d is coming from. I would do an import next auth as well as default session from next auth. Then we can declare where module next auth interface session, which is user, is subscribed, is type Boolean. So here I'm defining this interface session. Oh, actually, yeah, you can see here it's returned by useSession, getSession, as well as a bit of other things. When you see things that say useSession or getSession, that is actually useAuth. I think this is just relating to NextAuth's composable functions. So anyways, here we're saying session as a user is subscribed, but then we have to actually add default session of user. So this is actually just adding the initial the original values from user. So if we click in a default session, that'll show you it has name, image, email, expires. Now our red squigglies are gone, and TypeScript's happy, so I'm happy. Okay, cool. That's all we have for today. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.